Hi there, Dan here again. Proposal themes. Everybody talks about how important they are, and everybody tells you you've got to have them in your proposals. But no one can seem to come up with a definition of what a proposal theme is or even give you a good example. So what we end up with are bland feel-good statements like we have extensive experience or we are uniquely qualified because of our technical expertise and our in-depth knowledge of the industry. Blah, blah, blah. This tutorial is all about themes. I've broken it into 3 parts. The first part, this one here, defines proposal themes, gives you examples of what they are, tells you where they come from, tells you how important they are. The second part talks about how you develop proposal themes based on your understanding of the customer, yourself, and the competition. And the third one talks about how you incorporate proposal themes into your proposal. So, if you're ready to dive into proposal themes, let's get going with Winning Proposal Themes, Part 1, or what are they and where do they come from? But first, let's take a look at what you'll learn in this video. We'll talk about what are proposal themes, I'll look at where themes come from, why themes are important, and I'll give you some characteristics of an effective win theme. All right, first up, what are proposal themes? The first and most important thing to say about themes is that they are 3 to 5 statements that highlight the main reasons why you among all the competitors should be selected for the job. So imagine this. The evaluation panel has finished their job. They've read all the proposals, they've scored them, they've racked and stacked them from top to bottom in terms of score, and now they are in the boss's office. And the evaluation panel spokesperson is ready to deliver the recommendation. The boss says, "Who'd you pick?" The evaluation spokesperson says, "Well, boss, we picked Acme because of all the competitors out there. They were best suited to give us X, Y, and Z. And as you know, boss, X, Y, and Z are the things we need the most. So for that proposal, the winning proposal themes were, we will give you X, Y, and Z and we'll prove it. Whatever X, Y, and Z is." Now, it's crucial for you to understand that no matter how long the evaluation process goes on, at the end of the day, one person is going to stand up in front of the decision maker, if that decision maker is a person or a body of people, and make that sort of a simple statement. We picked Acme because they were the best suited to give us what we wanted. And so that's what your themes need to focus on in any given proposal, is how you can be the one that is best suited to give them what they want. And why just 3 to 5 themes? Well, you want the hardest hitting themes to stay uppermost in the evaluator's mind. A long list weakens the strong themes. Okay, if themes are the reasons that you should be selected, there must be more than just a statement that says, "Hey, we're great, pick us." So themes must also show you understand the problem and have solutions to resolve it. The first thing the evaluator wants to know is, do you understand the problem? If she doesn't think you understand the job, she won't believe you can do the job. The next thing she wants to see is that you have a credible solution to resolve the problem. These 2 elements are crucial in a theme, and they go hand in hand. Winning themes also show you have the proven ability to successfully resolve the problem. Evaluators will more readily accept your solution if they feel you have solved similar problems in the past. You need to work proof of this into your theme. And finally, themes must link the features of your approach to the clear and direct benefits to the customer. A theme must have a clear connection between what you offer the customer to solve the problem and the clear benefit he gets from your solution. Now, I talk a lot about features and benefits in other tutorials, so I won't get into it much here, but here's a quick refresher. Remember, features are what you will do or provide, your approach or product. Benefits are the goodies the customer gets from your features. Low cost, reduced replacement of parts, low schedule risk, etc. All right, that's the 4-part description of themes. Now let's take a look at some examples. To put these examples into context, we'll start off with the phrase, "You should select us because," since these are the reasons you should select us, theoretically. Then we'll have our theme checklist handy to assess whether or not each theme meets the criteria. So let's look at number 1. We have worked with you in the past and understand your people and processes. Does this meet the test? Well, let's see. Shows you understand the problem and have solutions to resolve it? Well, not really. You may have worked with them in the past, but that's not proof you understand the current problem. Shows you have the proven ability to resolve the problem? No, this doesn't work either. You may even have solved problems for this customer in the past, but that has no bearing on this problem in this current situation. Links to features of your approach to the clear and direct benefits to the customer? Well, no, there's no approach, thus no benefits. And finally, does it show why the customer should select you over the competition? Well, no. So clearly this theme fails the test, all 4 of these tests. As I say, it may be a true fact, and sure, having worked with the customer in the past and understanding his people and processes is a positive thing. But that in and of itself does not show that you understand the current situation and have a credible solution to resolve it. Okay, here's a list of themes I've encountered on proposals throughout the years. Pause the video and read through them. Any of these sound familiar? And how do they stack up against the criteria? Well, here's my take. None of these are really worth much as themes for basically the same reason as the first one. Now, if you look at these a little more carefully, you'll see that some of these have the seeds of a benefit nestled within them. But the benefit is merely implied. It is not explicit. And the rest are simply what we call unsubstantiated bodacious assertions that require the evaluator to take it on trust that you're best suited to do the work. They won't do that. As to this statement, who cares if this work is your bread and butter? How is that supposed to persuade them to select you? And finally, there's this one, which is just lazy. It's something you throw in because you think it might help. It won't. Now, let's look at some themes I helped a team develop a few years back. But first, a little background. The project the team was bidding on was to design a pipeline route from a mountain reservoir at an altitude of 8,000 feet to a water plant about 20 miles down the mountain and 4,500 feet lower. The pipeline would run along a state highway, next to which were several utilities, a railroad track, and a pristine trout stream. Big job, complex issues. Again, we start with you should select us because, then our team offers a plan and the expertise to navigate the complex permitting environment for this project. Followed by, we bring a team with direct experience addressing the critical issue of slope stability along the proposed pipeline route. And finally, our approach offers a balanced technical solution to pipeline design and addresses the public's environmental concerns. Now, each of these sounds more substantial than any of the others we just looked at. There's some meat in each one of these. And my assessment according to the theme checklist? Well, none of them quite make the greatest themes. And here's why. While each of these statements make reference to problems or issues on the project, they simply do not go as far as they need to serve as compelling reasons for the customer to select our team over the rest of the competition. Oh, they're not bad for a start. In fact, they're pretty good. So we spent the next day, and a long day it was, fleshing them out. Here's the first one. Take a moment to read it. Now let's take a look at the checklist. Shows you understand the problem and have solutions to resolve it? I'd say yes. The first sentence explains that there are a lot of permits required, an unusually high number in fact. The second sentence shows that the team has heard the district register concern about getting the permits in time to meet the construction start date. So, paragraph 1 is all about understanding the problem. Paragraph 2 gets right at proving that the team has the ability to solve the problem. In the first place, Rocky Nolan's on the job. And Rocky is an acknowledged expert in this area, so we have proven experience doing this work. Plus, he's already working on the solution. The last sentence nails the benefits to the customer. But what about the last theme criterion? Well, I can't in good conscience say that this expanded team as written and as read in the cover letter by the evaluators would by itself make the customer select the team. It's a great start, but more details of how the team would do permitting are required. And those details will, if the team is doing the proposal right, show up throughout pertinent sections of the proposal. Now, you may have noticed that the example I just showed you of what I call a good theme is not just a single sentence long. It's more than one sentence. In fact, it's 2 paragraphs. I found that the more you try to cram all of the criteria in that checklist into one sentence, the harder that sentence is to read. And if that sentence is hard to read, guess what? No one's going to read it. So, here's a tip. When you're doing your themes, do not worry about trying to make one sentence themes. That's letting yourself get driven by the format and not by what you really need, and that's the content. So go through each one of the criteria in that theme checklist, add a sentence for each, figure out how you can meet that criteria. Then when you're done, go back, review and revise. None of this stuff is going to be wasted. These paragraphs should show up in your executive summary or cover letter. Okay, now let's talk about where themes come from. Themes come from a number of sources. The first is your understanding of your customer's concerns or their hot buttons. If you have spent time with your customer before the RFP dropped, which you should have, you will have a sense of what these are. Themes also derive from your offer and your strengths and how they benefit the customer. You need to consider how to convert your strengths into benefits that are directly related to addressing the customer's hot buttons. Themes should also draw a distinction between you and your competition. Remember, the evaluation panel is going to say to the final decision maker, Acme is the firm best suited to meeting your needs. This implies that of all the competitors, only Acme could do the job. If you want to help the customer come to that conclusion, you have to consider what your competitors will offer and how you can make your offer more attractive. Oh yeah, and there's this. Very important. You cannot develop winning themes on the basis of the RFP alone, and that's because the RFP just lays out the requirements. It does not express the customer's underlying concerns. The RFP only tells you what the customer needs, the requirements of the project and the requirements of the proposal. But it doesn't tell you what you really need to know about your customer's hot buttons, the things that keep him up at night worrying. Next, let's take a look at why themes are important. First, they preview the features of your solution and the benefits you bring. When you put your themes in the executive summary or cover letter, you give the evaluators a glimpse of what they are about to read. This puts them on the lookout for details that will make your case. And when they find these details, evaluators are more inclined to give you the benefit of the doubt, which is often the difference between a 17 out of 20 points rather than a 16 out of 20, which could be the difference in the competition. Next, themes help you tell your story the way you want the customer to hear it. Themes form a structure that lets you answer the RFP requirements in a way that highlights why you should be selected. You announce the themes of your story in the executive summary or cover letter, then you answer the requirements in each proposal section in ways that reinforce the themes. This allows you to be compliant and persuasive at the same time. Themes are also important because they help your authors determine the content of their sections. If you assign a proposal section on conducting a geotechnical analysis to an engineer and all you tell her is that you need 2 pages by tomorrow morning, there's no telling what you'll get or when. But it's 100% certainty that someone will have to rewrite that section. Seen it, done it, 1,000 times. On the other hand, say you make that assignment to that engineer and say, I need 2 pages answering the mail about geotechnical analysis, but you also have to be able to show that we really understand how critical slope stability is along the proposed pipeline route and that we can prepare comprehensive mitigation plans. When you're that detailed in your instructions, my experience says you'll get 80 to 90% of what you want in the first draft, and the rest is just tweaking for readability. Themes give the writers focus. This significantly reduces wasteful revision and rewrites. Oh, and it also makes it easier on the writers, which is a plus too. Finally, themes are important because they are promises you make to the evaluators, and they are motivators for you to keep the promise. When you say, you should select us because of X, Y, and Z, you are committing to the evaluators that you will prove this claim. And believe me, if you make a promise like that, they will go out of their way to look for proof. Strong themes force you to keep proving them in your proposal. And remember, when you make a promise like this, you are also saying, if we can't make a good case for giving you X, Y, and Z, you shouldn't select us. I believe that's why most themes are so weak and generic. On the flip side, strong themes are great motivators for you. They serve as a measurement of success. Does each section help prove the claim? If not, what can you say in that section to bolster your proof? Okay, I said at the beginning of this tutorial that I would talk about characteristics of effective themes. So here are the basic requirements for any theme. It must bring direct and perceivable value or benefit to the customer. It must be provable by citing past experience, test data, testimonials, etc. And it must be believable to the client. Now, A killer theme is a little different than an effective theme. It has all of those characteristics above, plus it is something you alone can offer, and it is something the customer believes only you can do. A killer theme is a differentiator, otherwise known as a discriminator, between you and the competition. A killer theme lets the evaluators say to the final decision maker, we picked Acme because they are the only team that can give us X. And if the customer really, really, really wants X, you get the job. Killer themes, though, means you must know for a fact that you're the only ones who can bring X. This means you must know your competition and what they will offer, and then figure out how to offer more, and probably for the same price. Okay, so that's the tutorial on what themes are. Let's summarize. We've said that proposal themes are the reasons the customer should select you, and that themes come from the customer's hot buttons, your strengths, and your offer. I talked about how themes embed your story in the evaluators' minds, and that themes help your writers focus on what is important in their sections. I recommend only 3 to 5 themes per proposal, and finally, remember that themes must be customer-focused, clear and unambiguous, valuable and believable. And that's part 1 of Winning Proposal Themes. Check out part 2, in which we talk about how to develop themes, and part 3, where we talk about how to apply your themes across the proposal. You can always send questions and comments via the form on the page, and don't forget to check out the rest of the videos. And until next time, happy proposaling.